Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Les, for that good building. I'm Karen James, and thank you for coming along this morning to this very early LinkedIn Masterclass. I'd like to start with a question. Have you ever been to a networking event? You've collected lots of business cards, you've gone back to the office, and you've put them in your drawer. Well, brilliant news for you. You can now do exactly the same on LinkedIn. You can add lots of connections on there until you get that magic number, 500 plus connections. And then obviously, you've achieved success, haven't you? You've got 500 plus connections. You're a super networker, right? Wrong. All you've got is 500 business cards collecting dust in your drawer. But what if you could use LinkedIn to showcase how brilliant you are? What if you could use LinkedIn to build a network of people who are interested in you and can help you achieve your goals? And how powerful would it be if you could use LinkedIn to showcase your expertise to a really wide audience? Would you be interested in that? Well, over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to share 7 tips with you that will help you do just that. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end, so if you think of any, just make a note and we'll deal with them then. Okay, so let's get started. The foundation of your LinkedIn strategy is your profile. Your profile in LinkedIn is where you can showcase who you are, who you help, and how you help them. Your profile should be so compelling that people want to know more about you immediately. So here's your first tip. Make your headline stand out. If you were at a networking event and someone said to you, "What do you do?" I'm sure you'd come back with some really snappy answer about the benefits you deliver, wouldn't you? Your headline needs to be like your 10-second pitch. It really needs to stand out. Because if someone is doing a search on LinkedIn, there's only a snippet of your profile that shows up, and one of the things that shows up is the headline. So let's pretend you were doing a search on LinkedIn because you wanted to find someone who could help you with presentation skills. You do the search, and these 2 profiles are the ones that show up. Which one do you think you'd want to know more about? Would you want to know more about John A., who is owner of Business X? Or would you tend to click on the top one, Communications Maven? Someone who's saying, "Are you terrified of public speaking?" Yeah. Want to deliver stunning presentations? Communicate effectively? Perhaps I can help. I know which one I'd click on. So make your headline stand out. Use words that make people want to know more about you. Okay, so far so good. Someone's found you in a search, they've clicked on your headline, and they're going to go through to your profile, where they're going to see a summary of what you can do to help them. But, oh dear, there isn't one. They then have to search all around your profile, possibly click on your website link, go through to your website, look on several different pages, just to get an idea of how you can help. So here's tip 2. Fill in your summary section and make it equally as good as your headline. If your headline was your 10-second pitch, your summary is your 60-second pitch. I can see people in the audience saying, "I don't like 60-second pitches." But with the summary, you've got time to think about it and put some thought into it. Tell people how you help them. Tell them what kind of businesses you help. If you've got a good example of how you've helped a business, put that into it as well. Help people self-select themselves so they want to know more about you and how you can help. So that's the summary. So you've got your headline sorted out, somebody's clicked on it, come through to your summary, and then find out more about you. Now you need to start building your network. So here's tip 3. Start building your network with people who you already know. People who know you well. People you've worked with. People who like you. People who trust you. Start making a list of past clients, current clients, suppliers you've worked with, people you network offline and have a good relationship with, people who know you well, even people that you've worked with in the past. A client of mine recently set up a LinkedIn account. They created a great profile and they started connecting with people they already knew. One of these being a past colleague. They'd lost touch with this colleague when they changed firms. And the guy didn't realise that this chap was now into web design. So when they connected, it flagged him up again. They had a conversation and it turned out that the past colleague wanted a website designed. So that turned into a contract. Your existing contacts make a really good solid foundation for your LinkedIn strategy. So choose people who know you well. If you do build a solid foundation, LinkedIn opens up a whole new world of people you can connect to who can help you achieve your goals. There's two levels of important connections on LinkedIn. You've got your first level connections, who we've just talked about, the people who know you well. And you've got your second level connections. This is my network here. I've got 506 first level connections, who obviously I know them all really well, honestly I do. But through them, I've got access to an additional 135,000 people. Would you like to target an extra 135,000 people with your products and services? The beauty of it is, through my first level connections, I can go on LinkedIn and I can have a look who's in their network. I can look through them and see if there's anybody who would be useful to me. $135,000 connections, not all of them are going to be, really a good fit. But do you think possibly there's someone in there who would make an ideal client? Do you think there's someone in there who would make a good supplier? You may even find somebody in there who would make a good joint venture partner for you. Or even someone who's looking to invest in a business like yours. But these second level connections are people you don't actually know yet. So how do you make that connection? How do you start building a relationship? Let me give you an example. If you're walking around the expo today, and you spot a stand and you think, I'd really like to get to know these people because I think they could be useful. You don't know them. You walk up to the stand, you give them your business card and you say, I'd love to add you to my professional network. And then you turn around and you walk away. What do you think would happen? Do you think that person would say, oh my God, I'd really love to add this person to my professional network. I'm going to ring him tomorrow and set up a meeting. I don't think so. I think the card would go in the bin. But what if a mutual friend introduced you to each other? Your good friend knows this person really well, and he gives you an introduction. I'm sure the relationship would be much more likely to flourish. They may still be a little bit wary, but at least you've got an in, you can start the conversation. LinkedIn gives you a way to do exactly the same thing. If you've searched through your first level connections and you've found somebody who you'd really like to connect with, a second level connection, you can ask your trusted first connection for an introduction to them. Even if you're going to ask for an introduction, give your first level connection a reason why you want to connect with the second level one. It's always a good idea. Just grab a drink of water and your throat's getting dry. There's going to come a time on LinkedIn where you come across someone who you'd like to connect with, and there is no person to introduce you. Did I say that was tip 3? Or tip 4? Was that tip 3? Tip 4 was the power lies in the second connections. Have you ever gotten, if you're already on LinkedIn, have you gotten an invitation from someone who says they're your friend, and I'd really love to connect with you on LinkedIn, and you think, don't know who this person is? Here's tip 5. Personalise the invitation. If you're going to send an invite to someone who doesn't know you and you want to connect with them, personalise the invitation. Have a look at their profile. See if there's something in there that you've got in common. I recently got an invitation to connect with a chap who I didn't know, but he'd taken time to go through my profile and have a look at what I did. And he actually said in the invitation, I really like the way you included your book title in your headline. That made me think, yeah, this chap's taken time to go and say what I do, and he wants to connect, and I did connect with him. But more importantly, because he added that personal touch, I clicked through to his profile to see what he did. Now we're connected on LinkedIn, and we've actually started a good relationship. So that's tip 5, personalise your invitation. Okay, so let's just have a recap. You've created the snappy headline, you've got a fantastic summary, you've got a really solid foundation you've built with your existing contacts. But how would you like to make yourself even more visible to a much wider audience? How would you like to start building your credibility with people who don't know you yet? What if you could get in front of 500, 5,000, even 500,000 people who are in your target market? Do you think that might be useful to you? Even better, you can build your credibility with them. When you network offline, you'll go to events where you know your target market's going to show up. You'll go to events where you know there'll be people who might make good referral partners who have the same target market as you. Everybody's come here today because they hope their prospective clients will be here, or they may find some good suppliers that will be useful. Here's tip 6. LinkedIn has similar meeting places, and they're called groups. There's over 1 million groups on LinkedIn. They're based around profession, location, expertise, hobbies, things like that. Some groups have 50 members in. I think the biggest group on LinkedIn has 730,000 members in it. But they all have one thing in common. They all have an option for you to comment on discussions that are going on. They all have discussions going on that are talking about problems that you can solve. And one of the good things about groups is all group members receive a daily email digest or a weekly email digest of all of the discussions that are being started and all of the discussions that are getting comments on them. Now, if you've joined a group that's got 5,000 members in it and you've commented on a discussion, potentially 5,000 members will see that you made a comment and you will be visible to 5,000 people. And don't just join groups where your own industry hangs out, although that is good to, network with the same people who are just like you. Join some groups where you think your target market will be. If you're just looking for people in the northeast area, find groups that are northeast based. Join groups where your target market is. These are 2 discussions I found over the last few days that are happening in LinkedIn. The first one was in an estate agents group. The discussion was, I would really welcome any feedback from my property colleagues on the use of professional photography for selling homes. Is this essential, and do you outsource or charge for this service? Now, if you're a photographer, that's an ideal place to get in and make a comment. Give them some, free advice, a tip. But what about this? You can already see that estate agents are interested in that topic. Why not write yourself a blog post? 5 reasons why professional photography is great for selling homes. And do a little bit of a case study of how you've worked with an estate agent and how that's helped them. Another discussion that was started was by a barrister posting in a solicitors group. I have just joined a top set of chambers and wondering how to quickly improve referrals from solicitor firms. Does anyone have any hot tips? Again, if your area of expertise is how to improve referrals, that's a great place to jump in and give some valuable free advice. It's not the place to jump in with a sales pitch. Again, if you're networking offline, you don't go up to people and say, I'm a photographer, do you want to buy my services? You would start a conversation, you would give tips, you would give advice. You do exactly the same in online networking. Don't just jump in there with a sales pitch. So that's commenting on discussions, but you can also start a discussion. There was someone who recently started a discussion in a consultants group. I had to write the question down so I remembered it. He started the discussion, is a period of free consulting an effective way to acquire new business? Now it's a pretty general question, but the chap is a business advisor. That discussion started in December 2009 and it's still going on. The last comment on it was 3 days ago. It's had over 3,000 comments. How visible do you think that person is? But another good thing for him is he can go through all of the people who have commented on that discussion and have a look and see who would make a good client for him, who he wants to build a relationship further, and click through to his profile. So groups are a really good place to get involved in. I was speaking to someone recently who had gotten involved in a discussion on a marketing group on LinkedIn. And through that discussion, one of the participants had actually asked them to come and pitch for a project. And it ended up in them getting a 12-month contract to produce a marketing strategy for that company. So LinkedIn groups can be a source of really good opportunities.